Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, taking a look at the action for Saturday, February 26th. In the studio, Seth Merrow. Live from Florida, it is Brian Nadeau. Brian, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Seth. Good to be with you again on a very, very exciting weekend around the world, actually, for the thoroughbred world. But big doings at Gulfstream with the mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. You know, we're forecasting $6 million. I'll bet an adult beverage we get a lot more than that, because I think it's just the right day set on the calendar. Not a lot of derby preps, and all eyes are on Gulfstream Park, I think.
And a champion returns. That's always fun too.
Good point. Yeah, Latruska. I'm not Mr. Horseflesh, but man, I saw her in the paddock schooling the other day. Last Wednesday it was, and she looked like an absolute tank. So, it all kind of got started here at Gulfstream Park with Latruska and the Caribbean Classic, and then, at the end of 2020 to kickstart her championship campaign in 2021. So I think it's great to see her back. It remains to be seen how good she's going to be this year, or if she can get back to that championship level, because she was so good last year. And let's be honest, she comes in off a real dud in that funky, crazy race in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, but it's really cool to see her back here, Seth.
Yeah, that's one you can almost draw a line through, though. That was it was too fast, too early. It was would have had to be otherworldly to not kind of fade there. Let's go back to last week and get some of your thoughts on the 3-year-old scene over at the fairgrounds, your stomping grounds from last winter. Epicenter wins the Risen Star with a solid 98 buyer, does it on the front end. I thought Smile Happy, I had Ken McPeak on last week. He said, I'll be happy with the second or third for the 3-year-old debut. But I thought Smile Happy and Zandon, starting their season off, I'm willing to kind of give them that race and see what they do next time. What was your takeaway from the Risen Star?
I kind of agree with everything you've said, Seth. If you're a fan of the winner, he ran fast and did it the right way. And if you're a fan of the also-rans like Zandon, and like Smile Happy, you're allowed to think that was the right jumping off point into a 3-year-old campaign that Kenny and Chad Brown hope are filled with heady stuff. So they're going to have to improve. I see no reason why they wouldn't improve. Smile Happy, I didn't think got the greatest a trip, and let's just be quite honest, he had zero chance in the race. The way the race unfolded and the trip he pulled, but it's a means to an end for Kenny, and certainly for Chad Brown as well. And I would think you'll see a stronger, bigger, tighter version of those two colts going forward.
Earlier on the card, Olympiad, I think, stamped himself as a older division horse to watch with the 102 buyer in the mine shaft. So the undercard, which promised to be very good, lived up to it with performances like Olympiad.
Yeah, he's a real comer, Seth. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've talked a lot about these Bill Mott 4-year-olds. We're going to see Speaker's Corner on the Fountain Youth undercard, Olympiad, and Candyman Rocket. Bill's got 3 of them. And Cody's Wish, I think, is gearing up as well. So he's got an embarrassment of riches right now. But with all that being said, Olympiad has already answered the bell, and he did it in a track record time at Fairgrounds. He's very polished. And the fact that, he got that trip at that track over that extended distance with a long stretch, I think really speaks positively of him getting even more distance. So, yeah, that was exciting to see, and they had a great card there, no doubt about it, at Fairgrounds on Saturday.
Let's go to your neck of the woods, because another one that I'm going to kind of give a little bit of a pass to, given the way the race played out, and I think he'll be a player in the older sprint division. Drain the Clock wound up running second in the Gulfstream Park Sprint to miles ahead. But as I say, as a kickoff to the 4-year-old season, I thought it was an okay performance. I want to see what he does next time.
Well, Seth, hindsight's always 20/20, and I picked Drain the Clock, so I have nothing to redboard about here, though. But you're a buyer's guy, and you look at his form. He's a really slow horse on paper.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no edge over any horse in the field, even when he beat Jackie's Warrior That was kind of the one fast race he ran. Other than that, he was high 80s, low 90s. Now, with that being said, he ran fast on Saturday. I think the winner came back with a 102, and the winner's in raging form. So this was a move forward for draining the clock. I don't know if Safi's still bringing him to Dubai. I know that was the plan. We'll see what happens going forward. But I think it was a good effort for him. He got a lot out of the race. Don't forget too, in his in his campaign debut, because it was at the end of December, he went 8-3, and he had to run hard every step of the way, Seth. So you could easily say maybe he regressed a little bit, maybe it caught up to him. So I think he's in position to have a really solid year. But with that being said, to get to the upper echelons, he's still going to have to take another move, maybe two moves forward.
Yeah, as I say, I want to see what he does next time. But I thought it was it was a second place finish, but I don't think it was the kind of second place finish where you think, oh well, he's now been proven as a fraud or anything. I thought it was a good kind of starting point for the 4-year-old season. Let's see what he does going forward. Just before we get into today, We're going to look at Gulfstream and Aqueduct, but do want to remind people that at Oaklawn today, they're going to run the Rebel. I'm going to take a little pop with Dash Attack. I think all the money is going to be on New Grange, the Bob Baffert runner coming back to Oaklawn off the win in the Southwest. But I like Dash Attack in the Southwest off his win in the Smarty Jones on New Year's Day. I thought that was a nice performance. And again, I had Kenny McPeak on last week, and he said, you know what, I'm taking the team's taking a little bit of the blame. I don't think we really trained up to the Southwest as well as we should have. And he kind of pointed to the weather being a little bit of an obstacle as well. But now you look at the workouts, and he's got a couple of bullets coming into this. He gets hung outside. That is the huge knock. But I'm going to take a little pop with Dash Attack. Any thoughts in the Rebel?
Well, Kenny's got, so many talented 3-year-olds, and if you're not on the favorite, it's anybody's race. And certainly Dash Attack has got, a lot of talent. So it will be interesting. It's also a time of year, Seth, where you can no longer rest on your juvenile, your 2-year-old laurels. So, yeah, that's great. Super, Smile Happy was the best 2-year-old in the country or the second best 2-year-old in the country. What have you done for me lately? He wasn't ultra impressive at fairgrounds, and now he's just one of the ones, So, it's that type of time of the year. So we'll be interested to see what he does at Oaklawn. I'm interested to see Secret Oath for the coach because, man, she has been absolutely.
That last race was eye-popping. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome in her last 2 starts. She did it in was it the Martha Washington?
Yeah.
It escapes me.
Yep.
And D. Wayne is back this time the Kentucky Oaks Trail. He's got a nice runner in the Rebel as well. So that would get me really excited to see her run off again, Seth, because, man, the White Bridle, when I came into the racing in 1995, I just love those Lucas horses, and I've rooted for him ever since. And, to see him back with a couple of real talented horses is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, see him head into the Kentucky Oaks with one of the favorites. It would be a lot of fun this year, no question about it. All right, let's jump into it. I'll take a look at Aqueduct a little bit later on, but you're going to kick things off taking a look at Gulfstream Park. And again, the return of Latruska. We also have the mandatory pay in the Rainbow, so it's a nice day down at Gulfstream. It will kick off on Saturday afternoon with maiden $25,000 claimers going a mile on the grass. Your thoughts in race 1?
Yeah, and we're going to go through these early races quickly because I want to spend some time on the Rainbow races and get some maybe a little more coverage than we normally would. I'll give the one-sheet selections as I always do, and it's pretty straightforward in the first 2 races. 2 over the 4-3 in the opener. Conundrum Queen on the drop for George Weaver. Well, not the drop, the second off the layoff after the drop, excuse me. George has had a really, really strong championship meet with a limited amount of starters, and this one just looks better than, quite frankly, a very modest, very average group. Coco Icing in second was better last time on the turf return, and then number 3, Chica Boom has, middling, decent turf form prior. Was on the Tapeta last time. I think she'll like stretching back out, but to me, Conundrum Queen is at a very short number to kick off the card at noon. Seth, I'll just quickly mention, on Wednesday of next week, and that is Fountain Youth Week, we go to a 105 post. So just take note of that. We're back to a regular kind of post time.
Yeah, good to know because it's that time of year with a little more daylight, and some of the tracks do make that shift, so it's certainly worth noting. Second race on Saturday, bottomish level conditional claimers going 3/4 of a mile. Your thoughts in race 2?
5 over the 6-2 with Capscherini, Jose D'Angelo, just white hot at the championship meet. This isn't a claim. He's had this one for a little bit from Georgina Baxter, but she was a very, very good second behind an easy winner last time. And there's nobody in here that's going to run a race like that. I mean, Capscherini, it looks to me about 3 to 5, 4 to 5 in here, and just name the score time for her. Lunar Blast underneath, maybe a little bit of a price. We get a class drop here for Gerald Brooks, who blew up the nightcap on Thursday. And then Future Flay down inside for Bobby Hess, who, listen, does a very good job off the claim. It's tough to improve from Amador Sanchez and Hector Barrios. Those two are like about 28% together down here at Gulfstream. So Future Flay, I'm wondering if we regress a little bit. Capscherini seems way too tough for these. 5 over to 6-2. early pick 4 time as well.
When you mentioned the 6, you talked about blowing up the finale on Thursday. Did it with Jose Ortiz on board, so back on board again on Saturday as well. The 3rd at Gulfstream on the Tapeta for maiden claimers, going a mile and a 16th.
George Weaver could have a solid day. Here's Holy Berries down inside for our buddies at West Point. 1-2 over the 5. Now, she didn't do a lot of running on debut at Laurel, but that was sprinting. They better that day. She did make a solid late push after kind of getting left a little bit early. We go Lasix. We go 1 turn to 2 turns. We're perfectly drawn inside. And as I mentioned, George is doing a lot of right things at the championship meet. Holy Berries. Top right next door, Straight to Go. For Laura Cesares, if you're not familiar with her, she's had a good meet too. She won the stakes a couple weeks ago. Straight to Go's got solid form, added Lasix last time. Now we're 0 for 11 with 7 thirds. That's pretty ugly, but the chances have already added up. But there's not a lot in here. And then number 5, Presentia for Antonio Sano's going to put Jose Ortiz on. The trainer change here from Cassie. We go Lasix. We go maiden special weight drop. We route on the Tapeta. Presentia, maybe a look at a price. I understand Artemis Sweetheart is in here for Safi and the Ramses, and Miss California's in here for Todd and Irad. I'm dead set against these kind of horses, Seth. On debut, Safi 12%. Todd, I think, don't quote me, but I don't have the stat in front of me. I think he's 4 for 58. Maiden debut routing at Gulfstream Park the last 2 years. Take that into consideration. It's tough to win routing. He hasn't done a good job of it. It's plain and simple. So I think you have to fade these horses. Miss California is all the way on the outside. First start, 12% on the all-weather for Todd too. I'm against these kind of horses. 1-2 over the 5.
Yeah, and Todd's horse, a debut runner that they paid 50 for, debuts for 25. That's no bonus. I like Kozan runners earlier in their career. So Funny Face is intriguing to me, and maybe a price for Antonio Sano in that 3rd. The 4th race on Saturday, optional claimer non-winners are 1. The distance, 6.5 furlongs.
Yeah, this is an exciting race because it's got the return of Reinvestment Risk and it's got the return of Milliken. I'll go with the former. 1-5 over the 6. And Milliken was on his way to being pretty nice for Ian Wilkes. He caught Olympiad and he ran him into right to the wire at Keeneland in his 2nd start, facing winners for the first time. And Seth, I really feel like twofold. I think he paid the price for that big effort in his 3rd start, and probably something went amiss, or at least Ian Wilkes had to back off a little bit because now he hasn't been seen since November. But here he is coming back. Some huge workouts. Julian Leperoux is here, kind of Ian's, main guy outside of Brian Hernandez. And I like Milliken from just off the pace of the speed of No Q No. And I think Milliken is a very, very exciting 4-year-old prospect based on his 3 race. I mean, he won on debut, Seth, for Ian Wilkes, and he was 5-2 in an 8-horse field. Ian doesn't win on debut. I mean, you know that. So I think we take note of that. No Q No is loose in here, I think, and that's a positive. He was on the Tapeta last time. He's back on the main track here. He just missed on the main track, albeit against lesser 2 back. But I think he's got a flow advantage here. And B, now he's not as good as Milliken. He's not as good as Reinvestment Risk, but he might catch them at the right time. That's why I like him in here underneath. I'm just against Reinvestment Risk, Seth. I mean, he was so good on debut, and he was a solid enough second in the Hopeful and in the Champagne to Jackie's Warrior, but nothing's gone right since for Chad and Seth Klarman. And he shipped him to Keeneland for the juvenile, and he was dreadful. Then he was off until June, and he was kind of like a 3rd, and now we haven't seen him since. So, he's been working well, and maybe Chad's got him going in the right direction, and we know just how great Chad is. I mean, he's borderline immortal off these extended layoffs, but I just want to see it from Reinvestment Risk before I get on this bandwagon again, and I'm willing to make him prove it here too. So 1-5 over to 6 in race 4.
5th race on Saturday. We're looking at Tapeta 5.5 furlongs for conditional claimers. N2L is the condition.
Yeah, we got another pick 4 here. We slide in a middle pick 4. 7-4 over to 5-6. I think maybe Tidal Waters is loose in here. If not, it's going to be speed in a race without a lot of early pace. And she was a solid 3rd last time to Queen Calypso, who was, pretty good in winning, and she sat the trip that day. But I thought Tidal Waters ran well. And I thought honestly, I thought she ran better than Fillmore East, who's going to be favored in here for Jose, second off the claim, D'Angelo. And she is the one to beat, but if you match the races up, I thought Tidal Waters ran a little bit better, and I think the flow is a little better for her today, too. So I'll put her on top over Fillmore East. I'll try to reverse that. Adele Cat dropping for Sano, and Junior Alvarado, who's had a nice meet, and then She's Classy as well. We go off the claim from Jane Sibeli to Ayana's barn that isn't as sharp, so I'll play against her a little bit. Tidal Waters on the small surprise, 7-4 over the 5-6.
Fillmore East, when that one's run before, I've heard Ron say he caught some concerts at Fillmore East, but he didn't say who he saw. So when the horse runs, ask him who he saw at Fillmore East.
I'm pretty sure Jimi Hendrix was one of them. But I will ask him that.
So it was a legit, an icon at the iconic Fillmore East. Before we go to the break, the aforementioned stakes race with Latruska, it's race number 6. They're not giving any free squares in the Rainbow with Latruska 2-5 on the morning line. Royal Delta Grade 3 event, $150,000, 8.5 furlongs the trip.
Nor should they give any free squares in the Rainbow 6. Just 6-3 to the hoop. Provided Latruska is good to go off that, real dud in the Breeders' Cup, as you alluded to, and I did. Crazy race. You'll never see another race like it. I mean, they just went ballistic early, predictably fell apart late. Provided she's Latruska, she'll bury this field. And I quite frankly, I hope she does, because I think she's so cool. I think Foso Gutierrez has done a remarkable job with her. She's kind of like the working class horse that has blown up and just turned into a champion. And I hope she comes back running, in the Royal Delta. She's 3 for 3 at Gulfstream Park, and she just dwarfs this field. Now, if she does stub her toe a little bit, she does need a race. If she isn't quite the same as she was, and she is now 6 years old, Crazy Beautiful's all right. She's nowhere near as good as Latruska, but if they meet in the middle a little bit, if Crazy Beautiful moves forward off a very, very good 3-year-old campaign for Kenny McPeak, she's a player in here. Latruska's got to come back. If she does, and Crazy Beautiful moves forward, she's a player. She's got races that were, stamped herself as an up-and-coming, bigger and stronger 4-year-old filly. So, on the whole, she's nowhere near as good as Latruska, but stranger things have happened. It is Latruska's seasonal debut of what the connections hope is another championship campaign. And so there you go. And that's it. There's no one else in here remotely, in the same stratosphere, quite frankly, as Crazy Beautiful, let alone Latruska. So it's 6-3. If you want to get cute, maybe you use Crazy Beautiful thinking Latruska could need it. But, I'll sit back and golf clap for hopefully a champion returning at her best.
Yeah, she adds a lot of intrigue and fun to a fun Saturday with Saudi Cup early on. You get a champion to come back, 17 wins and 23 starts, $2 million in the bank. So, all right, that's race 6. That puts the first half of the card to bed. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll dive into the Rainbow 6 with the mandatory this afternoon at Gulfstream Park. Stay tuned. Having trouble finding us? It's actually quite simple. Whether online or on your TV, it's never been easier to watch and wager on championship horse racing with Capital OTB. Simply log on to capitalotbbet.com. There you can watch our morning shows, live stream races, and wager on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. You can also watch from the comfort of your home on Spectrum Cable Channel 1250 or Fios Channel 467 and win more with Capital OTB. Welcome back to the Handicapper Sports. Seth Merrow and Brian Nadeau. I will look at Aqueduct a little bit later on. Brian is going to continue his look at Gulfstream Park with race number 7, kicking off the Rainbow Six and the mandatory pay on Saturday afternoon. It's a starter allowance, 5 furlongs on the synthetic.
I got 8 million, Seth, as my over-under. I'm not going to be surprised if there's 10 in this thing. I think it blows up on Saturday. It's an awesome sequence. You gotta sharpen the pencil. You need every tool in the handicapping bag, and it kicks off with, I think, 3 real absolute doozies that are minefields. So we go 1, 8, 4, 9, 6. So much speed in this race. I was only going 5 on the Tapeta. I don't see any way that if it doesn't fall apart, multiple horses are wilting. And I look at Legendary Prince. For the Mirage boys are very, very crafty. Very crafty. Legendary Prince has been working lights out in the morning off the July layoff. Has never tried the Tapeta, but he's tactical in this race, loaded with speed for crafty connections. And I think he's very, very live in here. I'm going to put him on top. All my picks don't have speed or are not going to be on the lead. Outside to Cassine, who's been very good. Carlos David, he's got a good Tapeta win, 3 back at Presque Isle Downs. It was slow, but now Carlos has got him. He's going in the right direction. I think he's a player from off the pace. Tropicat is a little slow, but the flow of this race should help him maybe pick up the pieces for Ralph Nix, who's been having a phenomenal championship meet. Smoking Richie on the outside. Raging form for Larry Ravelli. He's the one speed I use because he's outside all of it. So I'm going to leave him in there. Number 6, Reconfigure should trip out for Marty Drexler off a win against Lesser last time. Marty's been going good guns. I spent about 20 minutes with him. Seth, I spent about 20 minutes with our buddy Ron Giernick, too. I'm glad I brought that up. He wanted to make sure he said hi. It was great to see Ron, our Woodbine buddy, down here as well. So I talked to Ron, Marty Drexler for a while. Just quickly, and I'll throw it back. We can talk about that for a second. I mean, Unprecedented caught a flyer at the start last time. It was the old they're off, you lose kind of angle. I just see so much speed in here. I'm playing against all of it. But so we go 1-8, 4-9-6 to kick it off. And I said to Ron, I said, man, I hope we get to see you up there at Woodbine this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw Ron, if you print up the PPs and the races that have the little comments, Ron's doing little comments for Gulfstream, but I wasn't sure whether he was down there or whether he was doing them from home. But it's nice to know he's down. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's nice.
One of the good guys up there. Marty was a really good guy to talk to. Sharp guy, high percentage guy. And you're right, Ron's doing a closer look for the racing form. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. 8th race at Gulfstream this afternoon. 7.5 furlongs on the turf for conditional claimers.
10-1. 3-5, and those are the main contenders in my rainbow as well. Isn't Propensity loose in here? I mean, drops in class. John Kimmel, Angel Royal has been very, very strong at the meet, and he knows how to ride. And when I say that, he knows how to read the racing form. He knows he's loose in here if they want to be. And I think it's got to be a send mission from out there. The class relief, I think this horse wires his field. I'm going to play him on top. Savoy, conversely, down on the inside can save all the ground, drops in class for Jeff Hiles. Quite frankly, I don't know a lot about this barn, but he's impressed me with the job he's done here at the meet from a limited amount of starters. And I think Savoy on the drop is very, very interesting. He's also 1 for 7, Seth, whereas even my pick, 1 for 16, I see a 1 for 15, I see a 1 for 23, a 1 for 13. There's a lot of 1 for lives in here. Savoy hasn't yet proved that yet. Don't sleep on my man Flint for Michelle Nihei. I thought this horse was a sneaky okay 8th, last time for 50. Huge drop, has only run 3 times. Blew up the board 2 back on the turf, and I kind of thought he backed it up a little bit last time. Don't sleep on him at what should be a big price. And then Mean Machine will be over bet for Jose Ortiz, but I think he figures too. Let's go 10-1. 3-5. This is the late pick 5, Seth, and as you can kind of see, it's not getting any easier.
Late pick 4 starts in race number 9 with 3-year-old maiden special weight types going 9 furlongs.
So I'm going to give the one sheet order, okay? 6-3, 2, 8, 10. But I'm going to use the 1. I'm going to use the 7. I'm going to use the 11 as well. It is a wide open race. I want as much coverage as I can get, as I can afford. But I'm going to try to get Magianera, Kelly Green, off that solid debut 5th, going 7. I think Paco's on a send mission here. I think he can clear. We're going 9 furlongs on the main track. You better darn well be close. You're not going to pick up the pieces at this trip. I think this horse might be loose. We're by Bernardini out of an unbridled, out of a hold me back mare. Certainly the pedigree on the top for this trip. The Dam, Jet Black Magic, 3 for 13, earned 400,000, won a grade 3. Maybe a little sneaky in here. Montauk Point for Shug really woke up with 2 turns in Lasix last time. Tactical and well drawn. Complete agenda. No surprise for Todd from up close. Added Lasix last time. Irad is here. Number 8, Pioneering Spirit. The other Pletcher makes a lot of sense. Boy, Bourbon Heist. I don't know if he wants to win a race, Seth, and they keep betting him, and he's now 0 for 6 with 4 second-place finishes. He's going to stretch back out. I thought he had to win last time, and he didn't really feel like it, quite honestly. I liked him a lot that day. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be the day. Iconic Adventure is interesting. The Godolphin Homebred, adding Lasix for Bill Mott. There's so many different ways. Make Way going this way for Kenny McPeak. Tried the dirt last time and added Lasix and was a pretty decent 7th behind Happy Boy Rocket, who's a nice one for Bill Mott. Boy, Seth, if you have a strong opinion in this race, you get a lot of help because a guy like me's got to spread 6 or 8 deep to feel confident.
Yeah, complete agenda, Montauk Point for Pletcher and McGahee look kind of logical, but a horse like Make Way, I agree. That 20 to 1 on the morning line, and I think you'll get some value there. That horse is very playable and only the 3rd career start. Yeah, fun race. Well, kind of fun. I guess if you're putting together a rainbow ticket, it's a race that puts a little roadblock there and makes you think a little bit. But we get back to the action in race number 10. Optional claimer, non-winners to 1 in the 10th race. They'll go a mile on the grass.
So when you spread in the first 3, you got to be a little more condensed in the last 3, and it's just 5-6 for me. 5-6-1 is the order. Applecross had a trip last time, just a nightmare, checking and was flying late when she finally got back in gear. That was off the layoff. Seth, if you want to be really bold, you could single her and hope, because she is supposed to improve. She is supposed to get better with age. She's second off the layoff, second time Bill Mott, and you don't think you're going to have as bad a trip as you did last time. But Star Seeking ran well in her U.S. debut. First start for Pletcher off the Ascot layoff last time, and she's supposed to be tighter in here too. She was a good second when she added Lasix. I think those are the 2 to beat. With that being said, there's other ways you can go. Black Sand wired on the Tapeta for Chad Brown last time. Was probably tactical on the inside with Irad. I thought Magna Mater was interesting, seemingly moving forward. Queen Bourbon, was impressive breaking her maiden when last seen, albeit in May at Churchill for Ian Wilkes. It's a tough race. I thought Caroline Story is not impossible for Chris Davis, who's overdue for a win at the meet. So Applecross and Star Seeking are my top 2. But boy, Seth, I'm leaving out a lot of different ones that can certainly factor. Talking Book for Shug on the return from an April layoff at Keeneland.
Race number 11, bottom level conditional claimers going the 1-turn mile.
So here's the single. Here's the best bet of the day for Jorge Delgado, Meteorito. And 34% off the claim. We've got Irad, and we were just second at the level in a race that would win this, and that was for Juan Riveriego. And no disrespect to that barn, this is a big move forward, and Jorge knows how to win with these claimers. He's prolific, and I think Meteorito for on or just off what looks like a pretty soft pace is going to be tough. I've got a single somewhere because I've got so much coverage. This is the one for me, Meteorito. Outside spin rate is dropping. I mentioned Jeff Hiles. Somewhat interesting. Vinny Dream is not bad at all either for De La Cerda, but let's single Meteorito. It is going to allow for some coverage early on, and hopefully I'll get some prices home and we knock out a lot of contenders, and I'll take my chances with the single.
Sounds good. And then hopefully you're still alive coming into race 12. And then you'll be looking up at the board and counting the money on the potential payoffs here at about 5:45 on Saturday evening in the maiden special event, going a mile on the grass with a big full field.
4-3, 11, 6, 12. It's tough. I like Vocalize, though. She was short on debut going 5, but the damn Harmonizer's a grade 1 winner. He's by more than ready. Supposed to love this stretch out. Second time Fletcher. I think we break through, move forward today. The second place horse came back right back to win last time, too. Number 3, Chad's got 2 firsters. Growth Capital for Seth Klarman with IRAB, Thistle, the Juddmonte homebred with Jose. So both of them have, a slew of works with, ace connections. The pedigrees aren't really much, oddly enough, for either of these two, but I think Chad will have them ready. If the post was better, I would like Urban Forest stretching out and adding Lasix. Chasing the Crown is a foal to Basilica, multiple grade 1 winner out in California who earned $1.8 million. You can't make up a worse post, Seth. These are just brutal. I think you're going to have to be really, really good to win from out there. It's another reason why I go inside. 4-3, 11, 6, 12 to end that 6-race Rainbow Six sequence. Like I said, I think $8 million for sure. It's going to be a really, really fun day in Hollandale Beach.
Looking forward to it. We'll take a break. We'll shift our attention to Aqueduct on Saturday afternoon. Stay tuned.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
The Clubhouse Racebook is the Capital Region's new home for racing and sports. 25,000 square feet of Vegas-style action with live wagering on the best horse racing from around the world. 260 flat-screen televisions and state-of-the-art wagering terminals. So don't miss out. The fun is only minutes away at 711 Central Avenue, Albany, just off exit 5 of I-90. And don't forget, if you can't make it to the Clubhouse, you can always wager online 24/7 at capitalotv.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian and Seth with you. We just got through the 12-pack at Gulfstream, and of course, don't forget the mandatory payout, Rainbow Six today. I'm thinking $8 million. We're definitely projecting 6. It remains to be seen, but it's a phenomenal, deep and competitive card. So hopefully you get involved, fire up those Capital OTB bets accounts. But here we go at Aqueduct.
It's always fun to watch because you look and see once they walk into the paddock and you're looking, and at that point it's like $1 million or $2 million, and you think, it's not going to be that, and then it gets to like a minute to post, and man, it goes through the stratosphere. And then that minute to post becomes about 3 minutes to post, which is completely understandable on days like that. But they send it in right under the wire, and it just takes off. It's like a straight line up. Fun to watch.
And the other cool thing is too, and I'm probably thinking you're going to agree with me. I love how, quite frankly, I don't know why other tracks don't do this. I love how after each race, it shows the remaining tickets.
Oh, absolutely.
You can just see it. You're starting up here and it's just going like that. And you can kind of say, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And, because what you have to remember on a 20-cent base wager, if there's $8 million in the pool, that's 40 million tickets. So it's like when you do your knockout pool in the football in week 1, it doesn't even matter who wins. There's just so many tickets that get knocked out. So I think it's fascinating to see and follow that too, Seth.
Yeah, and I tip my cap to Gulfstream because you're exactly right. Other tracks on the pick bet should do that. The big, particularly with these mandatories, but Gulfstream does it every day. And it's a great Good information for the player, necessary information, really, and they do a great
Agreed.
job of it. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So we'll get it kick-started at 12:50 in South Ozone Park here. Maiden Special Weight, 3-year-old Philly New York breds going 7.
1, 4, 2, and 5 for me in the opener at Aqueduct. I'll put Galaxina on top. Jim Bond entry. Between the two, I much prefer, and virtually everyone that's going to bet on this entry is going to prefer Galaxina, who, of those that have, well, they've all raced, but of the numbers of those that have raced, the buyer for Galaxina just has a real edge on this bunch. It was a good second place finish. So 1 to 2 on the morning line, going to be a short price, but probably deservedly so. That said, these are all lightly raced, and so Lena Reet, I'm guessing there, Lina Wright, perhaps, the number 4 horse, Dave Donk, trainee, debuted for a claiming tag, so class may be a question mark, but the debut effort was okay. It's one to build on. Horse doesn't have to do anything super phenomenal, has to go forward, but in a way that makes sense in a second start. So that one could be a player as well. And then Big Bean Christine in the 3rd spot for me. Tossed in an okay number last time, albeit also for a maiden tag. This one is maybe a little bit different. This one, as opposed to the number 4 horse, with only the 1 start, there's maybe a little more blue sky for that one. But for me, in the opener at Aqueduct, 1, 4, 2, and 5.
So we go early pick 4 in race 2. It's a flat 1-turn mile, $14,000, 3 L's, 4-year-olds and up.
5, 4, 1, and 8. Profusion on top goes out for Linda Rice off the claim. Takes a little class drop off a, little bit of a break. Again, you don't think, oh, gee, we're going to claim at the end of November and then not come back until nearly March. So I would think there's potentially a little bit of an issue, but boy, that was a nice win. And they are coming back, this isn't 6 months off, but still, there's a string of workouts that are pretty steady going back, to the end of December at least. Took off most of the time from the claim to that December 23rd workout, but has been working kind of steadily since. So I think this horse is going to be ready. And if we get back to that race on November 26th, Profusion is definitely the one to beat. But if you're looking for alternatives, Forever Wicked, 8 to 1 on the morning line, also coming off of a nice effort against very similar last time, with the connections likely to get a little bit overlooked, but seems in good form. And then in the 3rd spot, it's Mandatory, goes out for Jeffrey Engelhardt, who's quietly having a nice little meet down there at Aqueduct, Jeremiah's brother, one of the Engelhardt clan. And the race 2 back was clearly good enough, and both of the last couple of races were against better. So get some class relief as well that could provide a tonic in the 2nd at Aqueduct. 5, 4, 1, and 8.
And Jeremiah got a W on the turf down here the other day at Gulfstream, and obviously he's brought a very select group down here for the winter, but if you're back home and firing, just pay attention, because, I always think John Kimball's another one. I mentioned I'm picking him in the Rainbow in that race on Saturday. Any kind of horses these guys bring down that are, stabled in New York over the winter, those horses are here for a reason, and they're not shipping down just for the weather. They're here to compete over surfaces they like. So, I said Jeremiah got the W the other day. John Kimmel won, I think at 7 or 8 to 1. I had him in the nightcap, so maybe a month or so ago. So, just food for thought. Yeah. Take note of that. All right, on to the 3rd year. It's a good one. State bred allowance here as well. 4-year-olds and up, we go 6.5. I was going to say on the main track, Seth, but that's probably putting a little salt in your wound up there, New York.
Yeah, good point. At least when I send in the picks now, usually I have a space, and then some. If it's a turf race, I'll put in the dirt picks in the space. There are no spaces. I can single space when I send in the picks now, so it saves a little bit of time. But we do look forward to the turf season returning to New York. But in this one, I have it 5, 4, 2, and 6. 40 comments on top. 40 comments on top. I got ahead of myself because there is a comment here worth taking note of. Bump break in the trouble line in the last race, which was the move from main special into the first level allowance. It's always hard to judge how much that kind of thing has taken out of the horse, but I will say, I went back and watched the replay. It's legit. The horse did get bumped a couple of times, really kind of coming out of the gate, and then didn't quite stumble, but took a little sidestep and then went to the back of the pack. It didn't look like much momentum was lost necessarily, but as I say, it's hard to judge. However, when the horse does get the bumps and goes to the back, you can kind of surmise there was a little bit of an effect. So I'll put that into my consideration, go back to the maiden breaker in the race just prior, and hope we can kind of continue the form that was seen there and maybe draw a line through the trouble trip last time. 40 comments on top. The cobbler in the second spot, the Danny Gargan runner, likely to take the action off the debut win. I just wondered if, again, we get back to the race 2 back for 40 comments, that may be good enough to beat the cobbler at a short price, and we may get a little more value. Third spot, we'll hand it to our friends at West Point Thoroughbreds, the cleverly named a long, long time ago, sired by McLean's Music. So I tip my cap to Terry and Tommy and the group there for naming this one. Comes back off a layup, moves into the barn of Steve Asmussen. Had shown some ability in the debut effort, didn't quite follow that up, but with the time off and in the new barn a long, long time ago, could be intriguing again this afternoon. In the third at Aqueduct, 5, 4, 2, and 6.
Breds again in race 4, back to that 1-turn mile. These are 3-year-old fillies, $25,000 maiden claimers.
1, 3, 8, and 7, Pals Ally on top for me. Stretched out to the mile last time and ran a decent third. Now, decent, relatively speaking. This is not a strong bunch, and it was not a particularly strong race other than when you compare it with this group. And on the comparison, again, relatively speaking, the last couple of starts match up pretty nicely with this group. My first love, this is a New York bred maiden claimer. This horse has been racing in the last 3 starts out of town, now gets back in against state breds. Funny looking series of past performances. There are 2 complete duds bookending a couple of races that fit nicely with this group, but it just kind of emphasizes this horse is kind of inconsistent. But that they reached out and brought Frankie Pennington in, one of the higher percentage jockeys up here in the Northeast. I thought that was intriguing. So my first love in the second spot, an Ice Cream Sunday, Rudy Rodriguez firster. This is just a kind of a race where you can go with the quote-unquote fresh face, and that was the reason I kind of tilted in that direction. Hasn't shown a mid-30 buyer or below yet, and so doesn't have to be a whole lot in debut to get it done in here. Fourth at Aqueduct, 1, 3, 8, and 7.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we've got 4 down. That means the late pick 5's coming up, and we've got a really, really good 3-year-old maiden special weight sprinting. We'll take a quick break, come right back for it.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the Capital Region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to the Handicapper Report. Brian and Seth with you. We got through 4, the first 4 at Aqueduct before we went to the break. Last 5, late pick 5 time. And, you know, as I alluded to, we've got a really, really good maiden special weight for 3-year-olds here. A slew of first-time starters. I'm looking at Pletcher, Chad Brown, Jimmy Bond had a really, really sharp debut with number 5, Jester Song. We're sprinting 6, but Seth, I'd like to think a lot of these are going to stretch out and do some good things.
Yeah, they're putting 80,000 up for grabs, so you have some horses coming up from Florida bases and taking their shot for a big price in the debut or an early race. And I'll put one of those on top. Mystic Quest coming up from the Pletcher base at Palm Beach Downs. Curlin on top. This one worked in company with Goddess of Fire. That one ran very well in the stake last weekend, and just that they would put this one in with that one and, you know, compete them together, as it were, in the morning, attracted my attention. I think, you know, gets the outside post position. We'll get a look at what's happening inside. I'll put that one on top. Highly respected. It's Chad Brown and Klarovich in these kind of races. I am always attracted to that team. They win early, and they win often with early runners, and I think this will be another one that should run well. Jester's Song, Jim Bond runner. Be interested to see where the betting goes, because with these connections, they'll take a lot of action with firsters. But this is the kind of horse that in a normal event, maybe without the marquee connections in here, this horse would take the action with that 80 buyer in the career debut. So I'm going to be interested to see how the betting shakes out in here, actually. But by McLean's music, a win early sire, had a decent effort in the debut. Strapped is the other Todd Pletcher runner, also coming up from Palm Beach Downs by Candy Ride. This horse could be live in debut. Yeah, you said it. Fun race, but in the 5th at Aqueduct for me, 9, 6, 5, and 2.
Late pick 4 time in the 6th. Another good one, too. It's a starter allowance, 50, a mile on the main, 4-year-olds and up.
At top of my page, I have written in big letters and circled wide open. I have it 7, 1, 3, and 6. I could have pointed to a couple others and probably had similar confidence, and I could have taken the 4 I had and juggled them up and not really felt I was winding up with anything less than what I have here. But I'll put Extreme on top. A couple of third-place finishes in the last 2 starts for Ray Handel, who's having a pretty good meet. But I like the series, the progression on the buyers, moving in the right direction. I just think this one could be primed for a nice effort, a nice kind of breakthrough second win of the career this afternoon with those buyers that are tilting towards, improvement each of the last 3 starts. Blue Grotto in the second spot, nice second place finish, nice closing second place finish last time in a similar event. 3 Back also put in a nice closing effort to run second. They bookend kind of a dud. The dud, though, is at 1 1/8, so maybe the one-turn mile just hits this one squarely between the eyes. Rocco Strong in the third spot, won at 7 furlongs last time for Carlos Martin in a conditional claimer. So class is going to be the question mark for this one, but has that string of improving buyers, and last time was a lifetime best, so may just be in career best form right now. In the 6th at Aqueduct, 7, 1, 3, and 6.
Late pick 3 time in race 7, and it's another really good one. It's an optional claimer, 4-year-olds and up, back at that one-turn mile.
I have it, the 1 entry, 8, 2, and 6. Risk-taking and sound money, I could flip a coin. I think they're both absolutely live. They both go out for Chad Brown and Klarovich. And again, they both have numbers underneath that match up nicely with this group. Sound money, if this one can string a couple together, watch out. I'm just not sure, given the other races underneath, I'm not sure we can totally buy into that last number. But a little more consistent on the numbers and good enough to have an edge on this field is the other half of the entry, risk-taking. So again, they both look legit in here. Danny California off a nice second place finish last time in the Alex Robb, a state-bred stakes race. But I think this one typically tosses numbers that match up really well with this group. And then Zoomer in the third spot. Off the claim for Tom Morley, been popular at the claim box. This is a claim back for Morley. He had this one going back to October, claimed away from him off a Saratoga claim. But this one coming off of a win, solid buyer in that win. Zoomer, very dangerous as well. But as I say, I could point to another couple in here and have an equal level of confidence. I have it the 1 entry, 8, 2, and 6.
Race 8 is a stymie. 4-year-olds and up. We go a mile again on the main track. And Seth, I need your expertise to tell me, how is Green Light Go only 5 years old? I feel like he's been around for about 13, 14 years.
And
wow.
It's funny because when you mentioned that, the first thing I did was look down and see, when did he come on the scene for Jimmy Jerkins and make so much noise? And yeah, it was 2019, which, particularly with the pandemic, seems a long time ago. But Green Light Go, I put him on top, 1, 2, 3, and 5. It just seems like in the latest effort, he didn't only validate what we've seen earlier in the career, he showed that maybe he's getting better as a 5-year-old. His January 13th start, a 101 buyer, just seemed like a really good performance off the near miss in the fall high weight in the previous start. So again, it just seems like maybe this is one of those runners that gets better with age. A fine line of thoroughbreds. I'll put Green Light Go on top. Waxman for Todd Pletcher. Nice win in the latest, moving from maiden special weight to allowance company. Lightly raced 4-year-old, may still have some upside potential. And Henelize Houdini in the third spot. Went down, tried the Jennings at Laurel last time for Mike Maker. A close-up second behind the super talented Cord Maker, who it was fun to see win again last weekend. That one's just a win machine down in the Mid-Atlantic, so no shame running a close-up second to that one. Henelize Houdini in the mix as well. The 8th at Aqueduct, 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Let's wrap it up. It's good to see 501 on the final post time. That means we're stringing the daylight out a little bit. $25,000 2 L's, 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
8, 6, 2, and 9. Honor Among Men for me comes in for from the West Coast off a claim for Mike Maker. I don't know. I just thought that whole thing was intriguing. The numbers maybe have a little bit of an edge on some in here, but match up nicely with the others. But it's off the claim for Mike Maker, moves up the claiming ladder a little bit. Hasn't been seen since October, and the workouts aren't necessarily giving a hint, but there's just enough there with the story to kind of tilt in that direction at 7-2 on the morning line. Victory Built comes off a series of nice races, and the last was one of the best. Well, it was a lifetime best buyer, in fact, last time with the near miss. It was a drop down to the 16 level, but I like the confident move off of that recent good and maybe improving form to move up the claiming ladder a little bit. And Divinacris in the third spot. That last one, it just leaves you scratching your head a little bit. But the Maiden Breaker 2 back was good enough. I'm going to hope that's more what we can expect. And we are getting another little pop down the claiming ladder today that may get us closer to the race 2 back. In the 9th at Aqueduct, 8, 6, 2, and 9. Brings us to the end of the Handicapper support. Do want to thank our friends at Gulfstream for their sponsorship of this and some of the other programs here on Capital OTB TV. Always appreciate their support during the championship meet. And let me also remind you that today Clubhouse Racebook is open for Saudi Cup Day. Clubhouse Racebook opened at 9. There are complimentary donuts, bagels, and coffee while supplies last. Leading into that big Saudi Cup, about 12:40, but a good undercard as well. Great international racing with a lot of American horses over there vying for millions of dollars. So again, Clubhouse is open early. You can swing by. There's also a win-a-bet contest here at the Clubhouse Racebook today. And tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook, there's a player's bankroll where you get selected for the team and you make the wagers. Come on down and see if you can get on the player's bankroll team tomorrow, Sunday, here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Brian, it's been fun because it's anticipated to be a fun day at Gulfstream today. The return of Latruska, the mandatory payout, Saudi Cup in the headlights as well, and the Rebel at Oaklawn. It's yet another big day of racing, not only across the country, but around the world. And we appreciate your thoughts, particularly looking at that mandatory in the Rainbow Six. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Seth. There's a lot of excitement, as you mentioned, not only down here at Gulfstream, but around the country. And next Saturday, we really amp it up on Fountain Youth Day with 10 stakes, including the big 3-year-old prep for the Florida Derby on the path to the Kentucky Derby. So can't wait. Looking forward to it. Best of luck to you, everybody back home as well.
Appreciate it. We'll wrap it up for the Handicapper support on this Saturday. Seth, Merrow, Brian, Nadeau. Again, you can find the selections at capitalotb.com. Click on the handicapping link and pull up the one sheet and nice printable sheet as well. Good luck this afternoon. Stay tuned. Up at the top of the hour, Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital